There was plenty of niggle to come out of this test match, some of it designed, some of it by incident. It was a trial by social media for Owen Franks on Saturday night. Let's have a look at the incident. Now, we've got the broadcast angle. All right, Owen Franks in 3, I think everyone realises. So we got that. Doesn't look real good. Look where Roman Poit is. Then we've got another angle. This has appeared on Fairfax websites.
Yeah.
How's it looking to everyone?
Pretty damning evidence there.
Ben Daly, you get hands all over your face and head all game.
Yeah, look, I think you did see his fingers tense there, so he's definitely trying to grab something. Franks' fingers tense there, and also just after that he went for Kane's throat as well. So, I mean, I'm all for the niggle in the game. I think it's great, but, I mean, eyes are just a taboo place, and you can't touch them at all. And I just don't understand how he didn't get sanctioned for that.
Well, I do have an explanation. The sighting officer who watched it from his home, he watched the first half, went, that looked interesting, watched it again at half-time, saw that the referee was so close, there were two factors, hadn't done anything about it, so we went, that's interesting, the referee saw it, because it has to be equal to a red card.
Had the referee had the chat with Kieran Reid at that point as well, probably Kieran might have put a word in his ear. Well,
there's one, and the other one, he said he didn't think it was worthy of a red card, which it has to be cited, because Kane Douglas didn't flinch. Now, he's tough, but I suppose if they went into it...
I disagree with that. When you're in the mall, you're going to have hands all over your face, and you're not going to flinch. If you go up and go, my eyes, and complain about that, you've lost your shape in the mall and you've let your team down. So even if you're feeling fingers go over your face, you're not going to react that way. And unless you get your eyeball scraped, you're not going to scream or flinch.
And the law doesn't say you've got to eye gouge. That's not the law, right? It's protecting the... You can't make contact with the eyes. Kane Douglas got both of his hands pinned in that maul. He's got no protection at all, does he? He's in a vulnerable situation, and somebody has his hand in a very close proximity to his eye. It's not a nice feeling.
No, it's certainly not a nice feeling. And like you say, eyes are just a no-go zone for me. And again, we've just got to put our trust in the SANZAR and the sighting commissions, and that it's consistent, but also consistent for players' well-being and all that type of thing. Because what you don't want is an example like this where the reaction is because of damage or because of injury rather than the intent or how it looked. So I guess, again, with anything, we just want that consistency.
Well, let's say SANZAR, yes, I've given you the reasons why they didn't go to the sighting. The Wallabies management didn't ask. They just figured it would be cited.
There's a policy around, Michael Checker's state, they don't cite. Which I actually think is an error.
So they trusted the system.
And the error then becomes that it's like saying, for me, it's in the laws of the game. You can cite people for an event, a team can cite. The Wallabies have decided, because we like the nostalgia of it, of not citing. I get that, but if the Wallabies said, well, we're not going to play the offside, we don't mind if the team's offside against us, but that's in the laws as well, but you can be offside, we wouldn't do that. So why do this? I think it's an error in judgment, firstly.
Now, we've got a world governing body, World Rugby. Should they have stepped over the top of SANZAR because they're trying to wipe out foul play and making sure the exhibition to young kids is a good one?
Yeah, look, I find it fascinating that you have a world governing body that doesn't have any say over some sort of judiciary matter.
They don't have jurisdiction. They can't.
Over their constituents, It's like, I guess, the Australian Sports Anti-Doping Agency, for example, and the World Anti-Doping Agency, and ASADA saying they're not going to test for a prohibited substance, and one are just going, OK, well, that's fine. You can kind of do that yourself, I don't know. That's what I'm trying to compare it with.
Well, this afternoon, World Rugby released a statement. Here's what it has to say. So have a look at it. World Rugby's ability to intervene in potential citing cases arising from tournaments run by independent tournament organisers, SANZAR, is limited to circumstances where no such disciplinary process is in place or where the process has not been followed. Because SANZAR's got their own process, it's all up to you.
And this comes back to my point around, if that had been cited, the other thing happens from a broadcast perspective, and we know this, that as soon as there's a sighting, and we're in the truck after games quite often,
when they come and say, I need that incident,
they need that. Someone comes in and says it to the truck, and then they cut all the angles, and you get all the angles. That didn't happen in New Zealand. So nobody cut all the angles. So you were left with the angle that the TV had, and when you watch the first angle, we all sort of say, yeah, there was a bit. We look at the second angle, and you can see, hang on, there's a little bit more in this. The Sighting Commission never got that because the Wallabies chose not to cite. It's an error in judgment. And I think it's a policy that the management of the Wallabies should consider changing because it's not doing them a disservice. Owen Franks, sorry, I'm talking a lot, I know, but Owen Franks could have been out for 12 weeks. That's the minimum.
Low entry point.
Low entry point. He's not playing the next.
There's no such thing as eye gouging as attacking the eyes.